Hi, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Pink Lady Presents It Ain't Over Till You Say It's Over. I feel so lucky today because I am sitting with two Hollywood legends, good-looking Hollywood legends. I'm sitting with Jimmy Weldon. Hello, Jimmy.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is.
Whatever, right. And I'm sitting with Hank Garrett. Hi, Hank.
Hello. Jimmy, would you like to buy a watch?
Yes.
I mean, talk about fun day. This has been a great day because you know what? People like these two gentlemen are far between when you actually know that these are true legends, true icons, each in their own way. Jimmy, you are a young man of 95 years young?
Jackie, I can't believe it. That's right, I am 95.
95. And you have seen a lot. You're a World War II veteran.
Correct.
And you also helped liberate our death camps during that war.
Yeah, I was in Patton's Third Army Combat Engineers. We were attached to the group that liberated Buchenwald concentration camp.
Wow.
That's a memory I'll never forget, going in there and seeing these people on these wooden slabs reaching out to say thank you to us as we came by.
How young were you?
20. I could get my age, you lose three things. One is your memory. Can't remember what the other two items are. I must have been 25 or something like that.
And Hank, you started, I like to say, from the streets of Harlem to Hollywood.
Yes.
And you had a mentor in those days. Who was your mentor? Tell everyone, please.
The man that got me off the streets was Sammy Davis Jr.
Sammy Davis.
Greatest story in the world.
I love it. And when he did that, he got you a job. Am I correct?
Yes. I became a band boy for an all-African-American orchestra, Lucky Millender.
And you were what, like 10, 11?
I was 11 years old, and they told me, well, first of all, the man who was the mayor of Harlem brought me to Sam.
Right.
And Sam said that the mayor said, you're either going to go to prison or you're going to die.
Yeah.
And I said, that's my choice. He said, the way you're going. And I had a gun.
Golly.
I had a gun in my pocket
At
the
11,
time.
everyone. Wow. Well, but you had to survive. It's called survival. He has a new book coming out, and it does talk about survival.
Yes.
And it's called Up from the Sidewalk.
Up from the sidewalk.
I mean, I love it because from the sidewalk you can only go up.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the way it is. And I also want to tell everyone that Hank has a new men's cologne. And guess what it's called?
The original tough guy.
I know.
That's tremendous.
I love it. I love
The
that.
original tough guy.
But also, for me, you're also going to come out with the original tough lady or tough gal?
Tough gal.
Tough gal.
Yeah.
And when will that be out?
It's out now.
It's out now.
In fact, she has a cologne, and it comes in a choice. But what's so popular? It's a tin, and it's beeswax.
Oh, okay.
That you apply with the fingertip, and it lasts forever.
I think that is fabulous. And where can we get that?
That would be through her website.
Okay. Well, you know what? We will get that, and we will tell everybody about it. Pink Lady Presents. If you go on pinkladypresents.com, we will have that there for you when this airs. How's that?
That's wonderful.
The other thing is you had some great characters. Garfield. Does everybody remember Garfield, the cat?
Well, I did two characters on the show, and Fluffy and Fast Eddie.
I love that. Okay. The Fast Eddie and Fluffy. Okay, let's hear it.
Fluffy spoke like this because he was kind of slow. And of course there was Fast Eddie who spoke a lot faster than him, so that's why they called him Fast Eddie.
I love that.
Great. Hank.
But I must tell you, I sitting next to this gentleman who is my hero.
I think he's everybody's hero.
Bless your heart, Hank.
From the moment I heard his voice, And I said, he's incredible.
Well,
That's
Jimmy,
Jim.
let me ask you something. Because this is having to do a little bit of what Hank does, you were a Hanna-Barbera character.
Yes, the last
And it-
one alive.
Right. Well, yeah. You're not going down with any ship. You're staying up there. So you did, and the famous Yankee Doodle.
Yes. And
God, the name is so precious. Can you give us just a little bit of Yankee Doodle?
all right, you might remember in this show there's a little duck named Yankee Doodle, and his best friend is Chopper, great big bulldog. Fibber Fox or someone's chasing him down the road, and you hear him say, "Help! Chopper! Chopper!" He says, "Run, little feller!" He gets to the side of the road and he says, "Yankee, now that you're safe, tell me, where's your mama?" The little duck always looked up sadly. "I don't have no mama.
Oh,
Would you be my mama?" He wanted Chopper to be his mama. Can't believe we
I'll
did
be
that.
his mother.
Yes. I can't believe we did that 57 years ago.
I love it. Now, Hank, did you ever do a duck or no?
No, not really.
No, okay. Just the Fast
Why-
Eddie. And
Why try one?
I get it. Oh, okay.
I had a little duck named Webster Webfoot. Means that's
Oh,
so
that's the
long
other
ago.
one.
Yeah, they would remember.
Well,
Started
there
in
may be people out there that do.
1950 had the first show in Dallas. There was one TV set in every 3 blocks in the city of Dallas. Jackie, imagine this. We'd drive down the road in 1950. We'd see a house with an antenna on top of it. Hey, those people have an antenna. Look, they got a TV in that house. Think about this. In 1950, one television set in every 3 blocks in the city of Dallas. Today, there's one in every room of every home. We carry them around on our
I
wristwatch.
know.
Unbelievable.
How did you two meet?
I'll never forget this. I was at L. Ron Hubbard's theater down on Hubbard in Hollywood, and we're doing a program. What do we call it? The things of the early things of L. Ron Hubbard, whatever it is. You get my
Okay.
age, you forget it. But anyway, I looked down. I said, "That's golly, that's there's an actor. There's the guy you better give all the credits to. That's Hank Garrett." I
From
was
3
so
Days
shocked,
of
I
the
couldn't believe
Condor,
it.
the killer postman.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes. Oh, golly, we've been friends ever since then.
You also did, Hank, the week that was with David Frost.
Oh, yes.
And the characters that you did. I think the premise, well, what was the premise of the show?
I had no script.
Okay.
David would ask me to create a voice, and he would translate. So one week I was an Italian count.
Okay.
Secondo vala che se tu una cacetta musolola, un vaso, la casa banana, puscio tu che sta la cace da tua. It's gibberish.
Right.
And he would translate, and he would say, yes, the bathroom is down the hall. And so each week I was, they had the most incredible makeup, and I would become,
The
I would
Count.
look like the character, a Chinese delivery man, a Japanese.
Oh, now how did that? You said something about the Japanese. You never forgot that one. What was that story?
Oh, a true story. I'm a martial artist. I'm considered a grandmaster. And when I was training, I went to this gentleman who is a wonderful teacher. And I approached him. We were speaking about one of the moves I was making, and he said, and I said, Sensei, which means teacher, I don't understand. He said, okay, here's what I want you to do. Move your left foot I said, you speak English? He said, yes, of course I do. I said, well, why don't you teach in English? He said, because my doing, it really gets to you.
It does.
It
It
sure
does.
does.
It scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And it was like, I was shocked.
So, how did you get into voiceovers and things like that? I mean,
I through an audition originally. I as a kid listening to radio, and I would listen to people like the master here, and I would try to do what they were doing, kind of imitating the same sound. And there was a gentleman named Peter Donald who did different dialects. And I was lucky enough to meet Sid Caesar.
What a star! What a star!
And Sid became my mentor.
And what now did you do? What did you do in character for him? Any particular?
I did a couple of things for him. First of all, I do dialects.
Like how about a Spanish gentleman?
Yes. Are you kidding? Because the first thing I can do is speak with the accent, because when I was a little child, I was raised by a Puerto Rican family. So it's interesting because they were Jewish. So it's like,
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Dialect and voiceovers and all that was always something that I always wanted to do, and I always wanted to learn how to do it. You do some animal. Like what? Like
we did. We would do all kinds of sound effects during Hanna-Barbera. Anything we did with Yankee Doodle and the other characters. I did Solomon Grundy.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Oh, you Solomon, he was a ragweed. It would be all. We'd come in there and he'd say, "Do so and so." So all right, we'd try it, whatever it was. But Joe Barbera was the director, and it was unbelievable to watch him. He'd give us all the signals, what to do, and all that. Little Dawes Butler was Yogi Bear, everything. His residuals in 1962 were $350,000 a year. Any of you that might be watching this, if you think about voiceover, let me tell you, I've had so many of them say, I get tired of doing these voices. I said, you ought to be on your knees every night.
Thanking God, you're right.
I was living in Fresno. I came down and did one 60-second commercial. And it was what Dawes, when I walked in the studio, his opening line, well, here's little Yankee Doodle. Hi, Yankee. I said, hi, Yankee. I remember this is the beginning of a 60-second commercial. Hi, Yankee. He talked about Kellogg's Corn Flakes. When he got 3, he said, how are they? And I said, wow. That's all I did in a 60-second commercial. And wow, I was paid $80 for that.
Oh, wow. And
First
those days,
year,
that was a lot.
I got $5,689. The next year, $4,600 just for saying, and wow. No wonder why he had all those commercials. Oh, yeah. Hank, the lady that used to say, it's wait a minute, Mountain Grown flavor. What was it? And then the guy that did said, anyway, they were both millionaires. And then Tony the Tiger.
Oh, Tony the Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
They're great. He's just a millionaire just from doing that.
Well, the other one, the woman that did the commercial, Where's the Beef?
That's right.
Yeah.
She was like 99 when she first did that.
Yeah. Where's the beef? Imagine that. That's all it was.
Where's the beef? And I think she
changed.
came up with a line because they couldn't find the line that something was really different. And she says, well, where's the beef? They said, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So I think she also got the script. So she made a lot of money.
She wound up saying, where's the check?
Yeah.
I have to tell my dear audience that sitting and talking with two people like this, who, as easy as you think it is to sit with them and listen, they had a tough time in their life, coming up the hard way. Hank Garrett, am I right? From, as I said, the streets of Harlem to where you are now. Robert Redford's 3
Days of
the Condor. And then the other one was the Car 54.
Oh, that's it. That's what I saw immediately when I saw him. It said Car 54. There
and then as a fighter, you were, tell us the name when you were a wrestler. And you got Minnesota something?
I was Hank Daniels, the Minnesota farm boy.
Yeah.
Never been to Minnesota.
Wait a minute, with a blonde wig.
No wig.
Oh, no wig, that was
dyed
your
my
hair? Oh,
blonde.
my Lord. I love that. And Jimmy,
People
you've
don't
done,
realize the wrestling that he's talking. We were at the Sportatorium in Dallas when I was at WFA, and Barry Michelle Leone was one of the fighters.
Oh, yeah.
And then, wait a minute, what's the other one? The one he fought so much. Well, anyway, we were both in the shower down below.
Right.
And one of them, and Hank, Baron Michelle Leone said, "You nearly killed me today." He said, "When I got fell off of the ring, went underneath, he scratched his head with his own hand so it would bleed." He said, "You scared me to death when you came out of there." And he said, "I get to be the good guy next week."
now
It
you've
just-
also had, Jimmy, and you can tell everybody, tons and tons of acting jobs. I mean, just really
Well, yeah,
straight.
Yeah, I did. It was in many
But
shows.
what did you have the most fun doing? Your character?
Oh, yeah. I never dreamed when they called me and said, "Would you do the voice of a little duck in a new series we've got called Yogi Bear, and this little duck's named Yaki?" I said, "Oh, yeah, be glad to." I had no idea it would mean more for my career than anything I ever did. Because today, to think that I am 95 and nobody's left in the Yogi Bear
I
show.
know.
They're all gone.
But
The
now
only-
we have something,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I'm the only one left on Car 54.
Right. But
Yeah.
we have something that I know that our audience is going to absolutely love. And Jimmy, would you kindly do "Oh Glory" for us?
Oh, yes.
I'm going to
Oh.
get you a flag.
All right,
Can we
well-
have a flag, please?
Hey, no, thank you. Here's what she's wanting me to do. I did a presentation on the USS Kennedy in the Persian Gulf during the Iraq War. Say it. During the Iraq War. Hank, you can hold that with
Sure.
me. Here. This is on YouTube, and you've probably seen it, but I cried when they called me and told me it was used for 4,500 sailors. And this is a special presentation. I wish I'd written it, but it's a special story from the heart of Old Glory. I am the flag of the United States of America, conceived in the dreams of liberty and the hopes of freedom. I was designed by the hands of Betsy Ross, and her sewing basket was my cradle. Though I was never an orphan, I was adopted by the Continental Congress in 1777 and proclaimed the national emblem of a nation newly born on this continent, fighting valiantly for survival and destined to bring to all mankind a new concept in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I rode with Ethan Allen, the Green Mountain Boys, at the Battle of Fort Bennington. I was flown above the decks of Old Ironsides and the masts of Yankee clippers. I blazed the trail with Daniel Boone and Davy Crockett. I led the settlers coming west and crossed Death Valley in a covered wagon. Once I fell to the ground at Custer's last stand at the Little Bighorn. There were no living hands left to pick me up. But I galloped up the slopes of San Juan Hill with Colonel Teddy Roosevelt and his Rough Riders in the United States Cavalry. I was carried through the halls of Montezuma onto the shores of Tripoli by the United States Marine Corps. I stayed with the boys till it was over there. On the battlefields of the Marne Chateau Thierry, Saint Mihiel, and the Argonne Forest, I saw many of the youth and manhood of our nation fall and lie still in death. They had given their last full measure of blood. The war was over for them forever, but I kept my lonely vigil over their graves and stayed to watch the poppies grow amid the crosses, row on row, in Flanders Field. I was raised by 6 brave Marines and sailors during the hell of Iwo Jima, during the final hours of World War II. I haven't changed much. 241 years. I still have my original 13 stripes. But as each state came into the Union, a new star was proudly added to the constellation of my blue field. Started with 13, now there are 50. I've draped the caskets of our nation's heroes and borne to their last resting place the bodies of presidents, generals, admirals, humble privates, and the unknown soldier. Wherever free men gather, Wherever there's justice, equality, faith, hope, charity, truth, and brotherly love, there too am I. When you recite the Pledge of Allegiance to me, don't merely mouth the words, but think of what they mean to you and mean what you say. And when you come to the phrase, one nation under God, remember it matters not what your religious belief. It only matters that you hold your faith dear, that you practice it daily, and that you preserve it forever. History will never write my obituary, for I am the stars and stripes forever. I'm Old Glory. I'm your flag. I am you.
Jimmy Weldon,
Thank you.
Hank Garrett,
God bless you.
thank you both for being here and for being who you are.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, artists, legends of Hollywood. God bless you both. And we'll be right back.
I'm gonna live.
We Are America, the show that proves that age is only a number for those that are 60, 70, 80, 90, and over. Come and see us, for we are America. We're back, and we are back. I have to say, remember Superman, everybody? He climbed the highest building, and he flew over everything, and he was a master at fast. Well, sitting next to me now, and up, is a really fast young woman, Nadine Lajoie. Hello, and welcome to Pink Lady Presents.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
You are one woman who has conquered so many things. Before we even begin with what you've conquered, I'd like to go back to the very beginning when it was almost what we call a depressing, horrendous time for you at the beginning before you started to climb the ladder. What was that about?
You know, I was always mad and sad and depressed and not having enough confidence in myself. I had that big hole inside myself, and I will share a little bit more about that story later, but that kind of just get me to the rock bottom, and I just spring back up at 180 miles per hour.
Wow. And what was the first thing that you wanted to accomplish when you were younger?
When I was younger, I wanted to be a singer. Actually, when Celine Dion sang for the Pope, I was 14 years old. I was there at the forum, and I was hoping she would be sick so I can raise my hand and I can sing instead of Celine Dion. She was living about an hour and a half from my parents. And I so wanted to be a singer, and I play piano and I play guitar. So I always said all my life I was always include music in everything I do, and that's what I love to do.
Well, what do they say? Music lifts the soul. I mean,
Yes.
it just does. You're a famous motorcycle racer. In a world of men, basically. Am I correct?
Yes.
How did you ever think, I'm going to do that?
Oh my God. Since I was 16 years old, at 16 years old, I made my dad buy a bike. There was a Virago 750, and he said, oh, turn left because it's easier. And of course, I drove the bike, my dad on the back, 200 pounds. The bike was about 700 pounds, and I was about 90 pounds. So of course, I drove the bike, and I never got my license because my dad said, you're too small, you cannot do that. So that was at 16 years old, but I was also a volleyball player. And I'm only 5'1", and I broke my knee 5 times.
Oh, wow.
I finished 9 in a Canadian championship. And that was at 30 years old, and I broke my knee for the last time just before the Canadian Championship. But finally, I was able to do that.
And how did you break your knee?
Playing volleyball or hockey, and I kind of tore my knee, ACL, 2 meniscus, and all that. So finally, I played with a broken knee for 4 years. But the last year, when I got to the Canadian Championship, I finished 9. Again, 5 of my friends went to the Olympic in 2004, and I was training with them. But in 2000, I kind of quit volleyball because of my knee. And I got my operation, my surgery on a Monday, and I bought a bike. Have the 2 guys bring the bike in the living room. My parents were there. They were like, "What are you doing at 30 years old having a motorcycle in your living room?"
Right.
And that was my gift for myself for my next passion. Because I knew that passion saved my life, volleyball and music. And now I didn't have volleyball anymore, so I needed to find another passion. So it's why I'm a passionate girl. I love sports. I love music.
But why motorcycle? I mean,
Because
there's
I
plenty of
wanted a
passions to have.
motorcycle since I'm young.
Okay,
I was
okay.
always like crazy about it. I was doing motorcycle in the back of my uncles or my friends, and finally at 31 years old I got my license, finally my motorcycle license, and at 33 years old I was on the racetrack because I was already too crazy on the street, touching the pegs and touching the knee on the ground on the street. So I
where
was
did
not
you start? Where did you start? In France? Or
no,
here?
in Canada. I'm born
Canada.
in Quebec,
Okay.
French Canadian. So they had a women's class that started that year, and I kind of reserved the email. I said, "Hey, one day when I have money and when I can do that."
Right.
And finally, 2 of my friends, they are like, "You are too crazy on the street. What we will do, we will go on the racetrack. We will buy a bike, the 3 of us." So we bought a $4,500 bike between the 3 of us.
Okay. Oh, they wanted to race also.
Yes.
Oh,
so
okay.
one was in the fast group, one was in the middle group, and I was in the slow group. But quickly, after a couple of practice, I could have been in the fast group. So they said, let's try the last race of the year. For the women's class, there were 11 women. I was the 12th one. Everybody practiced all year long,
Right.
and I had only a couple of days. And I started 12, qualified 8, finished 3rd on the podium, and I'm a winner. So I love to be on the podium. I'm like, okay, here is my new sport. Here is my new passion. I learn everything.
Well, for our audience who really does not quite understand the lingo of motorcycle racing and everything, you start where? You start naturally at the beginners, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah. You start at the beginning, but because they had a women's class, that was a little easier in my head. Of course,
Okay.
because we have a little bit less testosterone, a little bit less ego, and we are a little bit more safe in the corner. But when about a year and a half later, I started to race also with men, and it's kind of crazy. That plays elbow and all that.
Oh.
And when I finished 3rd at Daytona against 75 guys, that's really where my name kind of came out. I was on the national team and
Were
all
you
that.
the only woman in that race?
Yes. I was-
Against 75 men.
yeah. That was the first time since 1982 or 1984 there were a woman at the racetrack in the top 10.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something about that. Was there, at that time, you said that you started with the women's group, and then the men have been doing it for a long time. Was there something that the racing industry said, women stay here, men do this? I mean,
No.
Just
There were
no
a few
women?
women
Okay.
already racing with the men, but the problem with the women is they quit kind of easily, like about a year and a half, 2 years, because when you start crashing as a woman,
Right.
and okay, I learned doing my own mechanic myself, but to a certain limit, it's kind
Right.
of a little bit harder. And it's harder also for women when your boyfriend or your husband is at home taking care of their kids or whatever, to have your woman going on a racetrack for the full weekend when you're staying home. So it's really hard. And that league kind of lasts maybe 7 or 8 years. I lasted 8 years, and a couple of other girls too. But most of the women's classes
Right.
in those times, I stopped racing in 2011. Most of the women's classes kind of fell down too, because we got a lot of excitement. At one point, we had about 40 women on the grid.
Oh, wow.
I was really helping
Just
on the
with the women.
social
Right,
media and all
okay.
that. At one point, we were invited also in Europe to put a kind of a race together to be.
What was it called, the women's racing group?
We had a couple. There was a women's cup at one point here in the U.S. That was where our women races, different women. So at the beginning they were laughing at us as women. But when you start passing the guys, after they give you a lot of advice and you pass them on their own racetrack, that's not as cool.
Right.
So, but it's always a friendship. We are so close to death all the time. Like every
Yes.
corner, we are close to death. And that's why a lot of people, we are really kind of, it's
a family.
It's a really family. I
Right.
did a lot of sports, hockey, volleyball, and all kind of thing. But motorcycle racing, I would say it's the more tight group as much as
In
we can.
competitive racing, what speeds do you reach?
I'd reach probably 180 miles per hour at Daytona. That weekend, that was raining. And that Sunday, I was all excited and all that.
Right.
But because it was raining, not raining, you have to change your tires.
Oh.
But you in the video, you will see I'm me, myself, and I, while everybody has their mechanic,
crew.
people to
Right.
to help and all that.
didn't.
And I have that little hamster that I talk a lot in my speeches and my training. You know, we always have a negative hamster saying you're not too old, you're too young, you don't speak
You're too
English,
tiny, you're
you
too
don't
big,
this.
right.
There is always plenty of reason that we have excuses and we have our
Correct.
own limiting beliefs. So that morning, I'm sitting on my stool. I'm taking a deep breath. I'm like, okay, now that hamster needs to shut up. And I'm thinking, this is the first time since 1982, 1984 that there were not a woman in the grid in the top 10. And I was qualified 11. And I'm like, this
what does
is
that
my
mean?
chin. I was qualified 11th out of 75 guys.
Okay.
11.
So I
get
still
it.
had
Wow.
a chance to be in the top 10 and make a story, but now it's raining. So the only thing I started to think is just breathe, just smile in your helmet, just do whatever it needs. So what I did, I changed one wet tire and one dry tire, all ready to go. So when they say, okay, the race is coming up like in 10 minutes,
Right.
I know I can change one tire, but I cannot change two. So I decided that the last
That was
minute,
clever. Yeah.
I decided at the last minute which tire to put, and I put the right tire. And I finished third at Daytona against 75 guys. And I was just thinking one corner at a time. And that's what I teach also in my business classes is one corner at a time.
One step
Get
at a time.
out
Right.
of your comfort zone. Go with the flow. Dance with your bike. Dance with your life. Dance with your challenges.
Right.
You need to be in peace of yourself, even if it goes 180 miles per hour.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
You're
matter.
right. You're
Even
right.
if you are one side of the bike, the other side, because we are never sitting in a motorcycle race. It's the same thing in life and in business. We never sit. If you sit, people will pass you.
by.
Correct.
That's exactly what happened to me, and it was a big lesson for me.
But in Daytona, I just want to get back to that scene for our audience to understand. One woman, 75 men. You're number 11th in the setup, right? In
Yeah.
starting. What was the atmosphere before you started with the men around you?
Oh my God. There is no other feeling in the world than being on your motorcycle. You feel the vibration, you smell the racing fuel, you have people all around you. And I kind of look in my right and my left and all that. And you know what? Half of the people didn't show up because it was raining.
Oh,
So that is one of the big lessons for my followers and my friends and my clients is start to be on the race. How many times in the morning we don't get up because we're not feeling that good. Oh, I don't want that TV show because it's too early. Oh, I don't want to do this because I don't feel for it. How many times in life and business we don't feel for something?
Right.
But it's only when you show up that now the doors are starting opening up for you.
It's like what I say to everybody: get up, get out, and get that life you deserve.
Yes.
Other than that, no one's going to knock on your door.
Exactly.
So, you won. You came in third. Now, the men around you. Did that begin the respect that was due you at that time?
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I'm saying. You're a
Yeah.
woman. This is men. I mean, they have a certain macho way of, hey, you know, this is our world.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we had a lot of respect from the men. Like, as long as you listen and you follow the instruction, you follow the advice, you can go up. And it's always about learning from the best of the best, which I say always, la crème de la crème.
Right.
Because at the national, after that race, I was invited from a New York company to do endurance races all over the country. So I was flying
As just women races or
no,
mixed
that was
races
mixed.
now?
Mixed
Okay.
races, we were 3 people with 1 bike, 6-hour races and all that. So they had the championship around the U.S., and that's what they did. They invited me. I was flying in. They were picking me up, get the bike ready and all that. And that's where I finished 9 in the national championship against guys, because the guy who had the bike said, if you come with us on Sunday, if we don't crash the bike and if everything is fine, you can use my bike and do individual races. So I accumulate enough points to be invited at the Grand National Final.
Oh, but not
at
on your
Daytona.
bike, though.
No, that was not my bike at all.
How did you feel about that? I mean, I would
At
think
the
you're used to
beginning-
your own bike.
Yeah, at the beginning it's kind of hard, and I did worse than that, because at the Grand National Final that was in Atlanta, my stuff is in California with my RV and my tools and all that.
Right.
So I finally found a guy online, rent his bike, $500, gave him like $2,000 cash, race a Kawasaki, which I never rode before, race on Dunlops, which I never rode those
my
tires
goodness.
before and all that. And I rent a car, slept in my trunk, got up in the morning, everybody's looking at me like, where is she coming from? I'm like, oh yeah, like this guy is bringing me his bike. And they said, yeah, but you don't know the bike. I said, I know, but you don't have tools? No, I don't. So the guy arrived with his tent, with his tool on Thursday, dropped the bike and said, hey, I cannot come in until Sunday. So now you are on your own and try to don't crash the bike.
Oh, my.
So I was at the Grand National Final with a bike that I didn't know, with a guy that I didn't know. I just took a leap. And
A
it's
leap
the
of
same
faith.
thing in
That's
business. Take a leap. Take a leap of faith. Always expect for the better instead of having that little negative hamster
correct.
always kind of giving you the bad advice.
Right.
How many times, probably 90% of the time, we try something new, we succeed. Or maybe only 10% we fail. But the problem is people are focusing on the 10%.
On always the worst.
We fail.
Yeah, right.
So after half a day, one day, I was passing most of the guy who gave me advice, of course. And that's really where I learn from the best of the best. Learn from la crème de la crème. So it's why when I was offered by Les Brown to be co-author in his book, I'm like, Les Brown is one of the best of the best. Like, okay, let's go. I'm following you.
We're going to show a couple of clips now, and you're going to see just what we've been talking about.
There are motivational speakers who walk their talk, but there are very few who can claim they run their talk at 180 miles per hour.
It's really important to realize that you have a dream in life and you need to discover your own passion.
A fascinating individual. You know, we don't hear very often about female motorcycle racers.
A good, powerful tool to be able to bring you that energy and that power.
Curves, and my friend said, oh my God, you will kill yourself, so you need to go on the track. And 2 of my friends helped me buy a bike. We were 3, and we took 3 different sessions, and I started like
Through
that.
an artful combination of introspection, musicality, and action, Nadine speaks before thousands worldwide. As a business leader in finances and real estate, she shares her strategies on how to stretch beyond your comfort zone for success, so you can renew your own life and connect with your heart. Lajoie's compelling presentation skillfully engages audience in a highly unique experience, powerfully intense, dynamic and positively charged.
Wow. I'm breathing. Okay. And I think walking around the block is kind of dangerous. Anyway, in doing what you did, going around, I mean, I'm watching it, Dove's watching it, it's fast. I mean, I'm actually getting nervous about it.
180
80
miles an hour fast. Yes.
Oh, my Lord. Well, I mean, I have to give you all the credit in the world. I just do. But you're psyched into it, Nadine. You just are. Your whole body, your whole mind, it's just everything. You know what you're doing. Win the race of life. And that's your book.
Yep.
And it's true. Win the race of life, because life is a race. It's a journey.
Yep.
And either you keep up with it or you're going to get left behind. There's no
Yes.
question about it. And you have 2 books. Can you tell us the difference between Win the Race of Life with Balance and Passion at 180 and...
This is the same book, actually.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So the first book is this one.
Okay.
Was edited by a publisher in 2010. And
Smaller
the
one right here.
target market for that is because of my story of the suicide that I will share. I really wanted to go speak in school, tell kids my story and say, hey, never give up.
Right,
You
right.
cannot give up. So it's why the branding is kind of more a video game and things like that. It's
Okay.
kind of more branded for the young
That's
crowd.
this one. Okay.
A few years later, another publisher said, I love your book. I love the work you do.
Right.
I do corporate training. I do speaking and all that. And he said, we should rebrand your book. We have a couple of stories a little bit more in this one
Okay.
for the corporate market. So womenscorporatetrainer.com is one of my websites that goes with that book. And you see the feminine.
How do we get them? How do we get them?
You get all of them on NadineRacing.com. It's kind of my main website. You
Okay.
get everything on that. And Women's Corporate Trainer is my 6-week program to become an high achiever. Because along all those stories that I'm telling, of course,
Right.
it's entertaining, it's fun, and everybody wants to talk about motorcycle racing.
Well, yeah.
You know, but the real story behind it is, how do you get there? How do you become a high achiever? How I was able to do that in piano. I finished 4th in piano in Canada when I was about 14 years old. I finished 9 in Canada in volleyball at 5'1.5" against 5 of my friends who went to the Olympics.
Wow.
And after that, I switched motorcycle racing, and lately I switched to champion yacht racer.
Yeah. And then it's from 180 miles an hour to 8 knots. What does that mean?
8 knots is about
Sounds like
9
nothing.
miles. Yeah, it's nothing. And yesterday we had actually a wind for 25 knots.
That was
and
fast?
that was crazy.
Oh, okay,
Like the
that's
boat
fast.
were going about 14 knots, and everybody is hanging out because like it's kind of crazy. But it's not the same kind of crazy of motorcycle.
Well, I'm curious. Why did you change? Is it just for the challenge? Why did you change from motorcycles to yacht racing?
Because
There's a
I
big
needed
difference.
something else.
Okay.
I tried golf for 2-3 summer, and I
Okay.
didn't break the 100 enough for that. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of boring a little bit. I need to do something else. But tennis, everything with my knee doesn't
Right.
doesn't work.
Right, right.
So finally, I met somebody who's yacht racer. I'm like, okay, let's try that.
I love
and I
it.
tried it, and he said like, look, every position I can teach you any of them. So of course I'm looking the most challenging
Right.
position on the boat. I said, okay, yes, I want to be bow. He said, okay, within a year or two you will be one of the best bow women in the South
what
Orange
is
County.
what is the bow? I mean,
The bow is the front of the boat.
The front of the
so
boat.
that is the person kind of not always, but kind of guide the sail. You do the sails change.
So that's you.
Yeah, so that's me. So there is a lot of action. So when it's really windy and the boat is really kind of challenging, when you are at the end and you have to kind of
Right.
reach something, you are half out of the boat and
realize-
half in the boat.
you realize, Nadine, that I could never, ever, ever be a yacht racer, but not the skills, my hair. That wind, I would say, you know what? How windy is it outside? At what time is it
Too
going to
windy
stop?
for you to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too windy. But really and truly, that is fabulous that you went from one extreme to the other extreme, actually.
Yes.
But she was able to survive.
Yeah.
If the motorcycle didn't kill you, at some point, you say there has to be something as much fun. I would imagine that working a jenny is one thing. But
Now, what's a
sailing
jenny,
a
honey?
jenny
Tell people. What
is the sail that comes
Yeah.
off the front of the bow of the boat.
Okay.
But then when you've got the wind behind you and you raise a spinnaker,
Right.
that's exciting.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
coming in under spinnaker.
And
we
what's
say
a
lot of
spinnaker?
marine- Spinnaker is a very lightweight
I mean, these
sail.
people that know everything,
Okay.
we don't know it. Okay.
When you're going in one direction and the wind is coming toward you,
Right.
you're using the jenny and the main. But when the wind is behind you, pushing you, then you raise the spinnaker, which is a very lightweight, usually very colorful sail. And
get
those
it.
of us who sail in California sail into Marina del Rey, and every Wednesday night they have the Sunset
Yeah.
Series.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a
And we
bunch of my
come
friends
in
racing there
on spinnaker.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So now, motorcycle queen, yacht queen, corporate queen, business, real estate. Tell our audience about that, please.
Yeah, that's why I share a lot my 5 secrets of the high achievers.
Okay. What are the 5? We're going to share this now. Okay,
It's
get a pencil.
Focus.
Focus.
So you need to be focused
Right.
and put all your energy at the same place.
Correct.
Okay? Adrenaline, passion.
Right.
What makes you smile in the morning? What
Yeah.
makes you not sleeping at night because you are too excited about your job? We need that. Adrenaline. Discipline. This is the one we don't like. I learned that from my piano, practicing 1 hour and a half, 2 hours a day. After that, I switched on volleyball, practicing another 2, 4, 6 times a week. Right? So the discipline. And the discipline is really about the mindset of, okay, I'm doing this there, and I focus on that. And after that, I need to do this other action. So it's discipline is really a lot about the mindset, okay? After that, there is coaching, being coached by la crème de la crème. Stop listening people around you who don't have success. Please don't ask your brother if you should write a book because he will tell you no, he never wrote a book. Right? So it's why when Les Brown encouraged me to be in his book and he said, hey, you need to write your own book.
Right.
I'm like, I don't have time. I'm racing. I had a race at that time in Miller Motorsport in Utah, in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and in California back. So I was on the road for about 6 weeks.
You have time from 3 in the morning till 5. Come on.
So he said, yeah, just do a voice recording. So I recorded all my stories of my book when I was driving during that 6-week trip.
Okay.
And I had done kind of my little index of get out of your comfort zone, or there is no coincidence in life, or my suicidal story. So every chapter has different stories in it and different lessons so people can really use it.
That's a great idea to do it when you're driving or something.
Yeah, so I got a ghostwriter, and it was really awesome. And she finally wrote it in French instead of in English. After 4 chapters, she said, oh my God, I'm in trouble, because she had a connection, automatic writing. She said, your book is so amazing. I needed to write it in French, but her sister, translated it in English, and at that time, at the last minute, we didn't have enough time, so we had another guy from Australia finishing the translation. So you can feel in the book the international. That's the beauty of the book.
Right.
You can feel kind of the French and the English and the international. It's
How
really,
did
really
you get
amazing
from
about
here?
it.
We get to the 5th one.
Oh, the 5th one. Sorry, I thought we did 5.
We have to focus on the 5th
Focus.
one.
You're right. You're right.
So the coaching, being coached by the best. And the last one is practice. Practice again. I was always the first one on the racetrack, even if it was raining and cold, and I was always the last one. And I was doing my laps and just getting the step by step. Hey, I need to be there like about 3 feet from that crack over there. I need to look at that pole, telephone pole or something. So in life and in business, that's why I'm a good business coach, because I'm using all those stories and those lessons to kind of help my client. Hey, now you're not focusing in the right place. Now you're thinking at the finish line when you are barely in corner number 2. So every corner, every challenge in your life, every business step like branding, marketing, story, challenge, your template, your website, your video, your exposure, your press kit, everything. So that's why I created that 6-week program, because there is so many hats
And
we
what
have
is
to
the
wear.
program called, Nadine?
The program is called the High Achiever Plan.
I like that. I like
Okay,
that.
so it's a 6-step process, 6 weeks. People
Can
go.
people take it online?
Yes, it's all on
Okay.
my NadineRacing.com. Everything is there.
Well, this all sounds fabulous, but it wasn't all that fabulous at one time.
No.
I'd like you to tell us about that, please.
Yes. Thank you for asking that. Actually, everything started because since I'm 4 or 5 years old, I always wanted to commit suicide. And I was really young, and people said, you are intelligent, you are good at piano. Why? It's just like, oh, life is too complicated. So I was born in a farm, 800 people in the city, and my dreams were big. I wanted to be like Celine Dion later on and all that. So my dreams were always bigger than what I think I could achieve. So I had developed that big hole inside myself. I was always mad, always sad. When it was raining, I was crying almost all day, and I had no reason. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, and my mission and my passion is to save people against suicide and depression, and also the never give up, because everybody, we have either a lot of excuses or none. Like me, I have good parents. I was good at music, good at sports, good at school. I had absolutely nothing to complain. And that's what I want people to understand. Depression, burnout, being sad in life doesn't need to have a reason. It's kind of in there, and we have to live with it every day. And every day, I still have to fight with it, because you always want more.
Right.
And often we are perfectionists, and I kind of stopped chasing perfectionists and aim for excellence. And that really helped me a lot, because often we fail because we are focusing on the top 20% instead of focusing on the 80%.
Right. Well, sometimes you focus on something that is way beyond.
Yeah.
So be happy with where you've achieved already.
Yeah.
But I want to hear, go ahead, I'm sorry.
We frequently talk about the Serenity Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know,
There you go.
Do this
which
one.
is a perfect segue
Yeah.
from what you're describing.
And what the is
That you want God to, or whomever you believed in,
right.
to give you the ability, the wisdom to know what you can change what you can, and accept what you can't.
There you go.
Otherwise,
Right.
it can make you crazy
Yeah.
and depressed.
Yeah.
Well, and before I get depressed, I want to hear you sing.
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, okay, I want to hear a little. I think our audience would love that.
And then that's why that last night I wanted to commit suicide. I called my mom. And my mom, she was there 2:30 in the morning, and she listened to me with her heart, with her soul, and she was just listening to me. And she said, call me tomorrow. Call me tomorrow. Just go one day at a time.
That's right.
And that's why the people, if there is only one thing you remember from this show today, it's about this. When you down and trouble and you need some loving care, and nothing is going right, you've got a friend, oh yeah, you've got a friend, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow. Well, I have a new friend. Chaplain Dove and I have a new friend in you, Nadine. Because truthfully, I always believe you are who you are. Be proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
Go for what you want. A lot of people would say to me, well, you're too tiny for that, or you're too old for that, or you're too young for that. And I said, wait a minute. I know what I want.
Yeah.
And it's my turn to do what I believe I can do, not what anybody else does.
Yeah, and it all starts with the dream. So that's why I talk a lot about that in my book, because once you have the dream, once you have a plan, once you have the people to support you, the coaches, the practice, the discipline, and once you have all that in hand, that's where you can be successful. You cannot be successful by yourself.
No.
And you know, I was 20 years in business in Canada in the financial services. I was a financial planner and all that. And I did a lot of things in my life, business coach, real estate and all that. And I decided lately, last year, to come back into business because only 11% of the retirement of the people has a good retirement setup.
Correct.
Only 11%. People don't know that there is a safe money retirement plan, tax-free strategy, because people are hooked up on TV 35 hours a week
or more
in average.
Right.
We need to educate people. We need to educate and help entrepreneurs, because over 70% of the people are entrepreneurs.
Well,
and we don't have help anywhere.
All these particular workshops, I'm going to call them, that you have are online.
Yeah.
They're going to go to Nadine Lajoie.
NadineRacing.com, because Nadine Lajoie is too complicated.
I get it. Okay, so Nadine Racing.com. And they can also, Nadine Lajoie, I'm looking at it now, Rock and Safe.
Yeah, Rock and Soft is one of my mini albums that I already recorded, and the other one is a motorcycle meditation. So for 20 minutes, you hear my Frenchy accent, guiding you into an energetic, powerful meditation to get you going. It's with rock music.
Right.
Nobody never built a meditation with rock music on it. So don't listen to that at night, because you will not be able to sleep.
You'll be up all night. Nadine Lajoie. First of all, you're a sexy, charismatic, beautiful woman.
Thank you.
Who has taken a life and built it step by step, and you have succeeded. You do your TEDx, I know, all your motivational speaking. Everyone out there, never, ever give up, and never, ever say it's over. Because my thing is, it ain't over till you, Nadine Lajoie, you, Chaplain Dove, Pink Lady, say it's over. God bless you, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you again. God bless.
The blues I lay low, I'll make them stay low. They'll never trail over my head.